U.S. government's primary focus was on emergency response and securing the nation from further harm. The first priority was a massive rescue and recovery operation at the 3 crash sites, Ground Zero in New York City being the largest and most complex. Firefighters, police officers, emergency medical technicians rushed into the chaos, many making the ultimate sacrifice. For days and weeks, rescue workers tirelessly searched through the twisted steel and rubble for survivors. Volunteers from across the country supported the effort. The hope for rescue soon faded, turning the monumental effort into a grim recovery mission to retrieve the remains of the victims and bring closure to their families. Simultaneously, the federal government initiated the largest criminal investigation in American history. The FBI quickly identified the 19 hijackers and began to piece together their connections to the Al-Qaeda terrorist network led by Osama bin Laden. The investigation, codenamed Pent Bomb, involved thousands of agents following leads across the globe. They examined flight manifests, tracked financial transactions, and analyzed communications to build a comprehensive picture. On the evening of September 11th, President George W. Bush addressed a grieving and fearful nation from the Oval Office. He declared that the United States would make no distinction between the terrorists who committed the acts and those who harbored them. President Bush visited Ground Zero on September 14th, standing atop a pile of rubble with a bullhorn, promising that the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon. In the wake of the 9/11 attacks, the U.S. government moved swiftly to create a new legal and bureaucratic framework to combat terrorism. The centerpiece of this legislative response was the USA Patriot Act, an acronym for Uniting and Strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism. The bill was introduced and passed through Congress with overwhelming bipartisan support, and President Bush signed it into law on October 26, 2001, just 6 weeks after the attacks. The act was designed to tear down the so-called wall that had prevented intelligence agencies and law enforcement from sharing information, a failure that many believed had contributed to the success of the 9/11 plot. The Patriot Act dramatically expanded the surveillance powers of the federal government. It gave authorities greater latitude to conduct wiretaps, monitor electronic communications like emails, and access personal records, financial, medical, and library records, without first needing to show probable cause of a crime. One of its most controversial provisions, Section 215, allowed for the bulk collection of telephone metadata, records of who called whom and for how long, but not the content of the conversations. Supporters argued that these tools were essential for tracking terrorists and preventing future attacks. Alongside these new legal powers, the government undertook the most significant reorganization of its federal